What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Living Freed channel. My name is Tyler Freed, and I'm going to be answering the question, what do I think of the truckers and the people who say there's no money in trucking? That is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you for clicking on the video. You need to stay tuned till the very end, because if you are a truck driver who is not having success, you've gotten into trucking and you've been driving for 5+ years, and you have not benefited from this job, this career, this industry financially, you haven't gotten ahead with it, this video is for you. If you're somebody that's looking at getting into trucking, this is also a great video for you, and you need to watch it all the way through until the end, because you are going to be surrounded by a lot of people in this business that think there's no money in this, there's no bright future in this, and that is just the truth. So I'm going to get into that in a second, but first, please like the video, sub to the channel, and if you don't like me, dislike the video, but either way, help grow this channel by liking it and subscribing and helping out with the YouTube algorithm. So I'm going to get right into it. Well, the way I want to answer this question actually is by really just talking about life in general and society in general first. In the end, I'll get into the trucking stuff. That's why I say stay tuned till the end. But the first part of this video, I'm going to be just talking about life and society in general. And a lot of what I'm going to say will offend a lot of people. And I really don't care, because my channel is for people who want to be above average. That is who this channel is for. So 90% of people aren't going to like my content. They're not, because I tell people that, it's up to you whether you're successful in trucking. It's up to you whether you are financially successful, whether you are successful with your health, whether you are successful with your relationships. It is all up to you. In other words, I tell people to take personal accountability for their actions. Okay, so how does that answer the question about what I think about truckers who complain about there not being any money in trucking? Well, 90% of truck drivers and 90% of society are average or below average in everything, in every category I just listed, in their careers, their finances, their health, their relationships. Everything is mediocre or below mediocre, and that is the truth. And the reason why is because it all starts with the mindset. It all starts with, number one, do you believe that, do you have an abundance mentality or do you have a scarcity mentality? The trucking industry is a $1 trillion industry. It is. Just like every other industry, though, trucking is no different. Trucking has its challenges. It has lots of regulation, lots of challenges. There are tons of things that we deal with out here on the road as truck drivers that are difficult to deal with, that are, obstacles. But every industry has that. It doesn't matter what sector of the economy you work in. Every career field is going to be hard to get into it and start from the ground and work your way up to success. That's the way it is in every industry. And I know a lot of you think that trucking's just terrible, it's the worst thing ever, and it's so hard to be successful in trucking. Newsflash, no matter what you do, like I just said, no matter what field you go into, it is going to be a struggle to become part of the top 10%. It is. And it all starts with your belief. Do you think in a $1 trillion industry that every single person, every single company is not making a lot of money? You don't think they're making a lot of money? You don't think people are getting rich in trucking? I'm here to tell you that the top 10% of the companies and the people in the trucking industry are getting filthy rich, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have invested so much money, time, energy, and effort into running these big companies, into growing in this career field. They wouldn't be doing that. And that's the same across the board in every industry. Well, what separates the top 10% from the lower, the 90%? One, again, it's mindset. The top 10% understand that you have to go above and beyond with your work ethic, with your willingness to learn and grow, and you have to have that mindset of abundance. 90% of society believes the game is rigged, believes that they can't get ahead, that there's no point in trying hard because the system is rigged, and yada yada yada. Pretty much the trucking industry is why I'm not successful. The company I work for is why I'm not successful. My wife is why I'm not successful. My husband is why I'm not successful. My kids are why I'm not. Blaming everybody else. The 90% blame everybody else but themselves. The top 10% in society, this is society and trucking, top 10% take accountability for their actions. So I'm going to start with the beginning. If you're somebody that's watching this video and you've been driving for 5 years and you haven't gotten ahead, think about it. Who decided to get a CDL? Who decided to go to trucking school, get a CDL, go through the training, and drive for 5 years? And if you're still deeply in debt, you still live paycheck to paycheck, you still have no savings, you haven't increased your net worth, you've gotten nothing out of this for 5 years, whose fault is that? If trucking is so bad, here's what I say to people that think that, especially if you've been doing it a long time, for years. You decided to get into it and you decided to stick with it. If it was so bad, why didn't you just try it out for 6 months to a year and then go do something else? See, I respect people that do that. I respect the people who get in and after 6 months to a year, they're like, look, trucking's not for me. And that's okay. You tried something, you gave it a shot, it's just not for you. You moved on, did something else. That's cool. It's not for everybody, and not everybody wants to do it forever. But don't complain about the industry or the company or this or that as to why you didn't have success. That's the moral of the story. That's what I think about people who sit around and complain about the industry and the economy and whatever president's in office, whether they're Democrat or Republican, man. And that's how people are. They're always looking, not that 90% I'm talking about is always looking, again, for people and something to blame besides themselves. That's the way it is. You need to take accountability. Moral of the story, if you decided to get into trucking, that was your choice. There's other careers, man. If you hate trucking so bad, quit, go back to school, learn a trade, go to college, go do something else. Go get a better job. Go get a job that you think is better than trucking. That's what I say. But there is money in trucking. To answer the guy, obviously there's money in trucking. It's $1 trillion industry. Look, if you do what I say towards the end of this video, you can make 6 figures a year. You can get completely debt free. You can have a multi-million-dollar net worth in 15 to 20 years. If you listen to what I say, like I said at the end, I will get into all that. But first, I wanted to, in the first half of this video, man, that's society. To answer your question, that is society, man. 90% of people don't want to try hard. 90% of people just want to barely get through life and complain. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Look at when election season comes around, right? And look, I'm not saying politics isn't important. It is, 100%. But people put their entire future into a politician. They do. It's crazy how emotionally attached this country is to politicians. No politician, I don't care what side you're on, no politician's going to come into office and hand you a great life. Okay? They're just not going to do that. Y'all are waiting on other people to make your life better rather than improving yourself. Again, personal accountability. That's what I say. So let me get into the trucking side now, because I wanted to end with that. It's an example of what people do. It's an example of their mindset. Oh, Trump's not in office, everything's bad. Trump's in office, everything's great. Or I hate Trump and everything's bad. It's people are looking for that boogeyman. They're looking for that reason to not improve themselves, right? That's just what it is. Okay, what about trucking? How do you have success in any industry? Well, number one, you need to study your industry. If you're going to go into practicing law or becoming a CPA or a doctor or a lawyer, it doesn't matter what it is, an engineer, whatever career field you decide to go into, you need to study that industry. You need to figure out how do I get to the money in that field. It's very easy to find out about that, especially in trucking, man. This isn't new. This industry has been going for over 100 years now. And there's a blueprint to success. There's a blueprint to success in most career fields. We're not innovating some new product or service and, creating a whole new industry here. It's not rocket science, really. But one, to start, you got to change your mindset. Two, you need to study your industry. And what do I always tell people on this channel? Hey, first thing you need to do is figure out what you want to do in trucking. And I'm going to go through everything now. To the people who don't want to listen to this, yeah, there's going to be no money in trucking for them. But if you listen to this, there will be way more money than you ever thought in this industry, 100%. And what is that? I say you need to figure out first, before you get your license, you need to figure out what you want to do in trucking. What do I mean by that? What division do you want to work in? Do you want to do dry van, reefer, flatbed, tanker, heavy haul, car hauling, oil field work, construction work? What sector of trucking do you want to do? There's so many different aspects of trucking, and you have to decide before you get in what you want to do. Or if you're already in it and you're just kind of going through the motions, well, you need to figure out, hey, what do I want to do long term? What can I do that makes more money than the average truck driver? What can I do? Right? Do I need to specialize, like get all my endorsements? What do I need to do? What skills do I need to learn to make above average truck driver pay? That's not that hard to figure out. Trust me. All you got to do is just look at what most truck drivers don't want to do and do that. You will make 6 figures a year if you do that. Most truck drivers don't want to be OTR. After 6 months to a year, they want to go local. They don't want to get their endorsements. They don't want to train. They don't want to team drive. There's so many things they don't want to do, and that's why they make average to below average income. But the ones that are willing to do those things make 6 figures or more. And the ones that don't complain and say that the people that are in that top 10% are lying. No, they're not lying. They're just willing to put in the work, and you're not. It's that simple. So figure out what you want to do. Do you want to do what division? Do you want to do local, regional, dedicated? What is it that you want to do? You got to narrow that down. Okay. And that's going to be different for everybody. Everybody has different interests. Everybody has different things that they want to do in trucking, right? Like when I first was looking at trucking, I knew I wanted to become an owner operator and grow a fleet and do the things that I'm doing. I had that plan before I got into trucking, and it took me 6 years to finally pull the trigger and start my business and grow my fleet the way I'm doing it. 6 years of just driving as a company driver. But I had that plan. Number one, I had my goals, and I had a plan to how I was going to achieve those goals. And, I didn't worry about the industry and what law's been passed and this thing and that thing and what this company's doing and what president was in office. I didn't worry about any of that. I had my goals, my plan, and I worked the plan, and I had the discipline to stick with that plan and work the plan. That's all you got to do. But I began my career with the end in mind. Hey, I want to get into this industry, make money, save, start a business, grow a business, and then eventually either sell that business or own it passively. build a business that I can own and not have to work in it every day. That is my goal with trucking. And that was my goal when I first started. Obviously, that goal that I had, I knew it would be a long road to where I'm at. I knew that, hey man, if you want to start a fleet and grow a fleet, that's going to take time. You got to have a lot of money. You got to have education. You got to have experience. You got to know a lot of things in order to be successful in this industry the way you want to be successful. It's just the way it is. And so that right there is a perfect example of that's how you need to start your trucking career, is begin with the end in mind. What do I want to do? How do I want to make my money? And then after that, after you figure that out, I'll get into the finances. Whatever you decide to do, you start doing that, and you try to grow as much as you can within that, whatever niche you picked. Then use your income to pay off all your debt. Get all your debt paid off. After you get all your debt paid off, excluding the mortgage, get a 6-month emergency fund saved up in cash. So 6 months worth of living expenses in cash saved up to cover any unforeseen expenses that may come up. Once you're out of debt, do that. After you do that, learn about investing. You know, I invest my money outside of trucking. I invest my money in low-cost index funds. I buy the Total World Stock Market Index, VTWAX, Vanguard Total World Stock Market Index. I put all my money that I'm not investing back into my business into VTWAX. And that's what I invest in. I invest in my trucking business and I invest in VTWAX. And I've been doing that for 7 years. Okay. You need to figure out what you want to invest in. Do you want to invest in index funds like I do? Do you want to invest in real estate? Do you want to buy your own truck and be an owner operator? Do you want to buy a truck, be an owner op, grow a fleet? What do you want to do? Again, you need to have a plan. You need to know what you want to do. It's that simple. You need to know what you want to do. And if you do all of the things I just talked about, yeah, it's very generic. Everybody's going to have different details when it comes to their plan. But moral of the story, begin with the end in mind with your trucking career. Be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. Then be smart with your money. Pay off all your debt. Build an emergency fund, learn about investing, figure out what type of investing you want to do, and stick with that plan. But to end this video, if you just got into trucking and you got a really good job, if you can get up to 90 to 100 plus thousand a year, just driving, not buying a truck, none of that, and you focus on just maxing out your 401k and Roth IRA, and you put that money inside of those accounts into a low-cost index fund like an S&P 500 or a global market fund like I invest in. If you just did that, just maxed out your 401k, got the match from the company and your Roth IRA, if you invested in that, and that's all you did, if you got in at 25, let's say you started your trucking career at 25, and you do that for 20 years, you will be worth a couple $1,000,000. You'll be worth about $2 million. If you do that until you're 55, for 30 years, you will be worth like $5 to $6 million. Oh, you don't believe me? People are going to say, oh, that's bullcrap. Go watch my video called How to Become a Multimillionaire Step by Step as a Truck Driver. And if you don't believe what I just said, I show you in that video the numbers. That's my video for today, though. That's what I think of people who complain about there being no money in trucking. They complain about the industry. They complain about this, complain about that. Honestly, they're losers. They're losers. They need to change their mindset. You need to get away from people who think like that if you're trying to be successful in life and in this industry. That's my video for today. God bless. Thank you for watching, and peace out.